Hi guys, in this video I'm going to be taking a look at Sony's Cybershot DSC-HX50. So for a compact camera, this definitely has some pretty impressive specs. Some of them include 20.4 megapixels with a CMOS sensor. It has 30 times optical zoom, and you can also get up to 60 times clear image zoom. The screen is 3 inches and it's an extra fine LCD screen, and it also has 921,000 dots. It can record in Full HD 920 by 1080, and it also has built-in Wi-Fi. Other little specs include a Sony G lens, and it also has intelligent sweep panorama, so all you have to do is sweep it across and it'll stitch up all the images for you. So these are the main features that it states on the box, but anyway, let's get unboxing and see exactly what's inside. Okay, so first to come out of the box are your standard little paper documents. So we have the instruction manual, here we have a European guarantee document, and you also have got this little leaflet that just tells you to register, and it gives you a few tips on how you can do that. Next we have the AC adapter, along with the power cable, as well as the charging cable, and you can use this to transfer your files over as well. This is a USB to micro USB cable. Get a little wrist strap, the battery of course, which is the NP-BX1 model. And it looks like all that's left is the camera itself. So here we have the HX50, and you'll notice that the size is actually very decent, especially for something that holds 30 times optical zoom. I personally think that the size proportion is very well done, and it's not too heavy either. It's not very light, but it's got a good amount of weight to feel very comfortable and kind of make you feel like it's a bit more secure in your hands and it's not going to float away or whatnot. On the left hand side we have this nice amount of grip. It covers a good amount of surface area, and the shape of it also allows you to wrap your fingers around to maintain good grip. Even if you're holding it with one hand, it feels like you've got good control over the camera. Anyway, on the bottom we have the tripod receptacle, so if you want to mount this onto a tripod you can do that. This is pretty much standard on all cameras these days. Just above that we have a micro HDMI port, so you will need to buy a separate cable for that. They can be quite cheap, so you just have to look online or whatnot. And to the right we have a battery hatch as well as the storage for your memory card. So I'm just going to insert the battery in now, so you need to make sure that the arrow is pointing towards the hatch, and you just insert it like so. On the side here we have this other little flap where if you open, this is where you put the micro USB, so this is how you charge up the camera as well as transferring through other files. Alternatively, for transferring your files you can just get a SDHC card reader. On the back we have another little patch of grip, so this is for your thumb and adds to the extra comfort when holding the camera. To the right of that we have the record button, followed down below by a custom button. To the left is the playback, and down below is the control wheel, so you can either use this to navigate and select, or you can change different things such as the flash settings, timer burst, the brightness, or the display. Below that we have the menu button, and to the right we have the help menu as well as delete. On the top we have the 2 stereo microphones, as well as in between that we have the hot shoe. So if you get some compatible accessories you can then mount this onto the camera, such as an external microphone. To the left we have the flash, so you need to press this little button just above the screen, and there we go, the flash will pop out. And if I just turn this around I'll show you what it looks like from this angle. On the right we have the exposure value, and then above that we have the on and off button. To the left we have the shutter as well as the zoom in and out, and here is the mode wheel, so you can get access to either the intelligent auto, we've got the superior auto, program auto, aperture, shutter, manual, memory recall, sweep panoramic, movie mode, scene mode, and that's pretty much all for the modes. Now I'm just going to turn this on to give you a quick example of what it looks like when the lens is out, and I'm going to zoom all the way in. And that's pretty much to it. So now I'm going to show you a few pictures as well as video so you get a good idea of what this camera can do. The first photo was taken using the intelligent auto mode. Now this camera doesn't actually have a specific macro mode, but it is able to tell when you're taking macro shots. The next one of the swans, now I was using about 15 to 20 times optical zoom, and you can see that the image is also very crisp. And the next one is of an aeroplane. This aeroplane was obviously moving, and I had zoomed in about 10 times, and I was actually tracking the aeroplane, and when I took the picture I was actually very pleased to see that the images weren't blurred at all. If you have some good lighting as well as a white backdrop, combine this with the manual mode, you're able to get some really good results in product photography. The next few photos are an example of the powerful 30 times optical zoom and the image quality that you can get from them. The first one is just an ordinary road with a lot of trees. Now with the 30 times zoom I was able to fully zoom into one of the trees, and you can just see how good quality it is. The next example is at a beach, and you should be able to notice in the middle of the photo there is a seagull, and I was also able to zoom right in on him. The next example is absolutely insane. So somewhere in this photo there is a little boat, and it's very hard to see. Can you spot it? Well, if you can't, here it is. So with the 30 times optical zoom, I was able to zoom very close to the boat, and this was on a misty day as well. So the fact that it was able to pick up a good amount of detail was just absolutely mind-blowing. One negative thing about this camera is the inability to take decent photos at nighttime using automatic and the preset scene modes. So the first example you can see here, the image is quite noisy, and it gets even worse when using the optical zoom, such as this photo here. It just looks absolutely awful. Now if you're in an area where it's well lit, then you're going to get a decent result using the handheld twilight mode, such as this one here. This photo is actually pretty much accurate to how I saw it when taking the photo, so fair play to the camera for that. There's not really much blur in the photo, so it's not too bad. But if you want to get the most out of this camera, then you will need a tripod and you will need to play around with the shutter mode. Now I have a few light sources behind me from the street lamps, but the main source of light is the moon, and I put this on a tripod and put the exposure for about 20 seconds, and the results were actually pretty good. And I wanted to also test what the zoom would be like when using shutter mode, and I got a really good result. So this is the photo I got when using 30 times optical zoom, and I think it's about 30 seconds of exposure. And yeah, not bad at all, considering I'm in Stokes Bay when taking this photo, and I was zoomed all the way into the Isle of Wight. So the results were actually very good. By using Program Auto and doing a few tweaks, such as changing the metering mode to spot and the auto white balance over to sunny, I was able to take some really stunning photos of the moon. Now it didn't matter even if I zoomed in all the way to 30 times optical zoom, I was able to get some really crisp images of the moon. You can use clear image zoom, but I personally didn't quite like the results as much as using the optical zoom, but it's really down to preference. Next up is some video footage. Overall, I definitely would recommend this camera. Not only is it comfortable to hold, but it doesn't take too long to get used to the interface, and as you've seen, the quality it can take both in photos and video is absolutely top notch. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and if you did, feel free to check out one of the videos down below or visit my channel. Otherwise, if you want to be up to date with future unboxings, reviews, competitions and live events, please subscribe. Once again, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you on my next video.